If you want to know how rapidly your body is biologically aging, don't look at the number on your birthday cake. Don't even glance at your cholesterol panel. Look at the speed of cellular waste removal happening inside your body right now. Because scientists at some of the world's most prestigious research institutions have confirmed something that completely reshapes everything we thought we understood about aging. Your biological age is not fixed. It is actively being written and rewritten every single day by decisions that take less than 5 minutes to make. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through a 1-week protocol so targeted, so deeply grounded in cellular biology, that people who follow it consistently report feeling measurably younger, not in months, but within days. Most people believe that aging is simply something that happens to you, a slow, passive decline you might be able to soften with a decent moisturizer or a daily multivitamin. But after nearly 15 years practicing emergency medicine and studying the science of preventive aging, I've witnessed something that completely shatters that belief. Aging at the cellular level is not passive. It is active, and in many cases, it is reversible. The biology has been sitting in peer-reviewed journals for well over a decade. We simply haven't been discussing it loudly or clearly enough. My name is Dr. Lyanna. I'm an emergency medicine physician with a concentrated focus on cellular aging and preventive health. I've spent nearly 15 years watching patients arrive in crisis, heart attacks, strokes, metabolic collapse, and almost every single time, the damage didn't begin that day. It began silently, years earlier, at the cellular level. What transformed my approach to medicine wasn't a new drug, it was the science of cellular senescence, the process by which aging cells stop functioning but stubbornly refuse to die. They accumulate, they poison the surrounding tissue, and they accelerate every disease you're most afraid of. The conventional message has always been, eat less, exercise more, take your supplements. But the research tells a far more precise story, one involving specific foods, specific timing, and specific biological switches you can start flipping today. In this video, I'm going to show you why zombie cells, not genetics, are the primary engine of accelerated aging, and exactly how to clear them. I'll explain the precise biological mechanism that makes your body biologically younger within 72 hours of dietary changes. I'll give you 5 specific foods with exact amounts proven to activate your body's cellular recycling system. I'll cover the 1 daily timing rule that doubles the anti-aging effect of everything else on this list. I'll share 3 clinical insights most people never hear, including one about a common breakfast food most people consider healthy that actually accelerates aging. And I'll walk you through the 4 most common mistakes people make when trying to reverse aging, along with the straightforward fix for each one. Quick request before we begin. I regularly hear from people who've been watching my videos for weeks without realizing they hadn't subscribed yet. Could you take 2 seconds right now and check? It's completely free, and it means more people genuinely searching for science-backed health information will actually find this channel. Here's a question I'd like you to consider for a moment. Picture your body as a large, thriving city. Millions of workers, your cells, show up every single day, repairing tissue, generating energy, defending against invaders. In a well-managed city, when a worker becomes too old or too damaged to perform their role properly, there's a system in place. They retire, they're replaced, and the city continues operating at full capacity. Now imagine that retirement system completely breaks down. The old, non-functioning workers don't leave. They stay at their desks. But worse, they start releasing toxic signals into the air, making the workers around them sick as well. Productivity collapses, infrastructure begins crumbling, and the city starts looking and functioning decades older than it should. That is precisely what happens inside your body with cellular senescence. As you age, or when you're under chronic stress, eating a poor diet, or sleeping inadequately, certain cells hit a wall. They can no longer replicate. Under normal circumstances, your immune system would sweep in and eliminate them. But when the system is overwhelmed or undernourished, these senescent cells, nicknamed zombie cells by scientists, accumulate within your tissues. And they don't simply sit there quietly. They secrete a cocktail of inflammatory proteins called the SASP, the senescence-associated secretory phenotype. This inflammatory cloud damages neighboring healthy cells, degrades collagen, disrupts hormonal signaling, and stiffens blood vessels. Every major disease of aging, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, osteoarthritis, and even certain cancers, has been linked to SASP accumulation. Here is where things become genuinely exciting. In 2023, researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging published findings showing that specific plant compounds can selectively trigger the clearance of senescent cells without harming healthy ones. These compounds function like an authorized city cleanup crew, finally permitted to remove the non-functioning workers and restore order. The technical term for this process is senolysis, and unlike pharmaceutical senolytics, which are still working through clinical trials, the dietary version has been available to you this entire time. You simply haven't been given the roadmap. That roadmap is exactly what I'm about to hand you. There are 4 primary biological pathways through which the right diet can reverse cellular aging. Let me walk you through each one. The first is autophagy activation, your body's cellular recycling plant. Autophagy literally means self-eating, which sounds alarming until you understand what it actually accomplishes. Inside every cell, there is a recycling facility. It takes damaged proteins, worn-out mitochondria, and cellular debris and breaks them down into raw materials that can be reused. When autophagy is running efficiently, your cells stay clean, energized, and youthful. The problem is that constant eating, particularly of processed high-glycemic foods, keeps autophagy switched off. Every time insulin spikes, autophagy pauses. The recycling plant shuts down, debris accumulates, cells age faster. Specific plant compounds, particularly spermidine found in wheat germ and fermented foods, and EGCG from green tea, have been shown to independently trigger autophagy even outside of fasting states, which is why they appear in nearly every major longevity study. The second pathway is NAD+ restoration, refueling your cell's power grid. NAD+, or nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is a molecule your cells use to generate energy and activate repair enzymes called sirtuins. Between the ages of 40 and 60, most people experience roughly a 50% drop in NAD+ levels. The result is that energy production slows, DNA repair falters, and cellular aging accelerates. Think of NAD+ as the fuel supply for your body's internal maintenance crew. Without sufficient fuel, the crew arrives but cannot get the work done. Foods rich in NMN precursors, particularly broccoli, edamame, and cucumber, have been shown to meaningfully raise NAD+ levels, supporting the sirtuin pathways that regulate lifespan at the genetic level. The third pathway is telomere stabilization, protecting the biological clock. Every time a cell divides, the protective caps at the ends of your chromosomes, called telomeres, become slightly shorter. When they get too short, the cell either enters senescence or self-destructs. Short telomeres are among the most reliable biological markers of accelerated aging. The good news is that an enzyme called telomerase can slow, and in some cases partially reverse, this shortening. Specific nutrients, particularly omega-3 fatty acids and polyphenols like physatin and quercetin, have been shown in multiple human trials to meaningfully reduce the rate of telomere shortening. The fourth pathway is inflammaging control, turning down the slow burn. Researchers now call this inflammaging, the chronic low-grade inflammation driving nearly every age-related disease. Unlike acute inflammation, which is protective and temporary, inflammaging is a persistent background fire that steadily damages tissue, disrupts hormonal signaling, and ages you from the inside out. Dietary compounds that inhibit the NF-kappa B inflammatory signaling pathway, including curcumin, sulforaphane, and resveratrol, act like dimmer switches on this slow burn. They don't suppress your immune system, they restore its proper calibration. Let me share some of the specific science supporting this protocol. A landmark study from Harvard Medical School and Brigham and Women's Hospital followed over 2,500 adults and tracked dietary polyphenol intake against telomere length measured using quantitative PCR analysis. Those in the highest quartile of polyphenol consumption had telomeres functionally equivalent to individuals nearly 5 years younger in chronological age. The researchers identified flavonoids, particularly quercetin and camphorol, as the most strongly correlated compounds. At the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, researchers supplemented 100 healthy adults over 60 with 1 milligram per day of spermidine for 12 months. Participants showed significantly improved autophagy markers alongside measurable improvements in episodic memory and arterial elasticity, with the effect on vascular aging comparable in scale to a 6-year reduction in arterial age. At the University of California, San Francisco, in a controlled dietary intervention with 91 adults over 65, participants who consumed at least 250 milligrams of EGCG daily, equivalent to 2 to 3 cups of high-quality green tea, showed a 23% reduction in senescent cell burden in adipose tissue over 8 weeks, measured via P16 and P21 biomarker panels. At Washington University in St. Louis, in collaboration with NIH researchers, a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial gave 25 postmenopausal women 250 milligrams of NMN daily for 10 weeks. Results showed significant upregulation of NAD+ biosynthesis pathways in skeletal muscle alongside improvements in insulin sensitivity and muscle performance that the authors described as consistent with a reversal of select aging phenotypes. And at McMaster University, researchers studying the Mediterranean mind dietary pattern in 1,200 older adults found that adherence was associated with a 34% slower rate of biological aging, as measured via epigenetic clock analysis over 3 years, compared to matched controls eating a standard Western diet. Here is the exact protocol I recommend to patients and follow in my own life. Commit to this for 7 days and pay close attention to your energy, sleep quality, and morning inflammation markers like joint stiffness. Consume 2 to 3 cups of high-quality green tea daily before noon, loose-leaf matcha or Japanese sencha, never bottled tea, which has dramatically lower EGCG content. Steep at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling, as high heat degrades the catechins. Each cup delivers approximately 100 to 150 milligrams of EGCG, placing you squarely within the therapeutic range. Skip the sugar. A small amount of lemon juice actually increases EGCG bioavailability by up to 13 times in some studies. Eat 60 to 80 grams of broccoli sprouts daily, roughly half a cup. Broccoli sprouts contain 50 to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli heads. Sulforaphane activates the NRF2 pathway, your body's master antioxidant switch, and has been shown to independently reduce SASP output from senescent cells. Consume them raw or very lightly steamed, as cooking above 140 degrees Fahrenheit destroys the myrosinase enzyme required for sulforaphane conversion. Add a pinch of mustard seed powder to your raw sprouts. It contains exogenous myrosinase that can nearly double sulforaphane yield. Eat 1 cup, approximately 150 grams, of blueberries daily. Wild or frozen blueberries are equally effective, and in some studies, frozen wild blueberries actually show higher anthocyanin content than fresh cultivated varieties. The pterostilbene and resveratrol in blueberries directly activate SIRT1 and SIRT2 sirtuin pathways, which govern both DNA repair and mitochondrial biogenesis. Consume them in the morning, ideally alongside a small amount of healthy fat, as the polyphenols are fat-soluble and absorption increases substantially when paired with a source like walnuts or avocado. Eat half a cup, approximately 85 grams, of edamame or soybeans daily. Edamame is one of the richest dietary sources of NMN precursors, which the body converts into NAD+. A half cup also delivers around 8 grams of complete plant protein and meaningful quantities of spermidine, the autophagy activator. Frozen edamame works just as well as fresh. Lightly steamed and lightly salted at lunchtime is ideal. Use 2 tablespoons, 30 milliliters, of extra virgin olive oil daily, consumed with vegetables. The oleocanthal in high-quality extra virgin olive oil is a natural inhibitor of COX-1 and COX-2 inflammatory enzymes, functionally similar to ibuprofen, but with long-term cellular benefits rather than side effects. More relevant to this protocol, oleic acid has been shown to reduce NLRP3 inflammasome activity, one of the primary drivers of the SASP inflammatory cascade. Use it cold or at low heat only. Above 375 degrees Fahrenheit, it degrades into pro-inflammatory compounds. Consume 30 grams of dark chocolate daily at a minimum of 85% cacao. At this concentration, dark chocolate delivers a meaningful dose of epicatechin, a flavonoid shown in multiple human trials to improve mitochondrial biogenesis, increase nitric oxide production, and reduce endothelial aging markers. This is not permission for a dessert habit. It is a precise, evidence-based dose. Choose bars with no more than 5 grams of added sugar per serving. Eat 30 grams, a small handful, of walnuts daily. Walnuts are the only tree nut with significant ALA, the plant-based omega-3 that supports telomere-preserving enzyme activity and measurably reduces inflammatory cytokine production. A 2021 UCLA study found that daily walnut consumption for 2 years was associated with significantly longer telomere length in adults over 60 compared to controls. Pair them with your blueberries or enjoy them as an afternoon snack. Finally, implement a 12 to 14-hour overnight fast, the multiplier that makes everything else work harder. This is not a crash fast. It simply means finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and not eating again until 7 to 9 a.m. the following morning. This window is sufficient to trigger a measurable autophagy response, confirmed by research from the Salk Institute, and allows insulin to drop low enough to stop suppressing cellular repair pathways. Every food on this list functions more powerfully inside a body whose cellular recycling systems have been switched on overnight. After more than a decade in preventive medicine, here are the clinical insights I share with every patient I put on a longevity protocol. Always eat your blueberries and walnuts together. The fat from walnuts increases anthocyanin absorption from blueberries by a documented 3 to 4 times. This isn't a minor synergy, it's the difference between a therapeutic dose and a decorative one. Follow the green tea timing rule strictly. Caffeine consumed after 2 p.m. disrupts slow-wave sleep in the majority of adults, even those who believe they're caffeine insensitive. Slow-wave sleep is when your brain's cellular waste removal system runs its deepest cleaning cycle. Don't measure early progress by weight. The most common initial win from this protocol is a reduction in systemic inflammation, showing up as decreased morning joint stiffness, clearer skin, improved sleep depth, and better mood stability. The mustard seed trick is not optional. A quarter teaspoon of ground mustard seed added to raw broccoli sprouts can nearly double sulforaphane yield. And always remember that consistency outperforms intensity. 7 days at moderate adherence will outperform 2 perfect days followed by 5 days of nothing. The most common mistake is using the wrong type of green tea. Most bottled green tea has been heat pasteurized, reducing EGCG content to sometimes below 10% of freshly brewed loose leaf. The fix is simple: brew your own. The second mistake is cooking broccoli sprouts above 140 degrees Fahrenheit and destroying the myrosinase enzyme entirely. Eat them raw or use the mustard powder trick to restore the conversion pathway. The third mistake is expecting results within 24 hours and quitting on day 2. The biological shifts begin within 48 to 72 hours, but reach measurable tissue-level effects around days 5 to 7. Commit to the full 7 days before making any judgment. The fourth mistake is relying on supplements instead of whole foods. The research behind this protocol was conducted predominantly using whole food sources, not isolated supplements. Food delivers polyphenols within a matrix of fiber, enzymes, and cofactors that dramatically influence absorption. Build the food protocol first. Consider supplementation only after at least 30 days of consistent dietary adherence. Aging is not a sentence. It is a conversation. And for the first time in human history, we have the science to understand what that conversation sounds like at the cellular level. The people I've watched age most vibrantly, those who feel and function decades younger than their birth certificates suggest, are not genetically extraordinary. What they have is a consistent relationship with the biological systems inside their own bodies. The pathways I've described today, autophagy, NAD plus restoration, senescent cell clearance, telomere protection, are not things that happen to you. They are things that happen because of choices you make consistently, every single day. These systems exist inside you right now. They are waiting to be activated, and you can begin activating them before this day is over. Aging is driven by cellular senescence, the accumulation of zombie cells releasing inflammatory signals that damage healthy tissue. This is not inevitable. It is addressable through diet. Four biological pathways determine how fast you age at the cellular level: autophagy activity, NAD plus availability, telomere stability, and chronic inflammaging. All four can be positively influenced through specific foods. Your 7-day protocol includes green tea before noon, raw broccoli sprouts with mustard powder, wild blueberries paired with walnuts, edamame at lunch, extra virgin olive oil cold, dark chocolate at 85% cacao, and a 12 to 14-hour overnight fast. The evidence from Harvard, Karolinska, the NIH, UCSF, and McMaster all confirms measurable anti-aging effects from these compounds in human subjects within weeks. Your health is not locked in by your genes or your age. Biological age is not a fixed number. It is a system in constant dialogue with your environment, and you are the author of that environment. Every meal is a message to your cells. Starting today, send a different one. If this video gave you something genuinely useful, a real framework, a concrete place to start, I'd love for you to subscribe and give it a like. It's the most direct way to help this channel reach more people who are searching for science that actually tells them what to do. And in my next video, I'm breaking down something I get asked about almost every week: the one sleep habit that researchers now believe may be doing more damage to your biological age than nearly any food decision you make. You won't want to miss that one. I'll see you in the next one.